What happens when a president tries to rename one of North America's best-known lakes with a stroke of a pen? That unusual move is making waves today, alongside a major cyber attack and a deadly disaster in South Asia. Welcome to the Automated Daily, Top News Edition. The podcast created by Generative AI. It is August 28th, 2026, and I'm Trent Teller. Here are the stories you need to know. This episode is brought to you by Consensus. Consensus uses AI to help you find and understand research papers, and you can get a free month. Find the link in the episode notes. We begin in South Asia, where authorities in Nepal say the death toll from severe flooding has climbed to 469. Rescue and recovery efforts are still underway, and the scale of the losses makes this one of the region's deadliest recent weather emergencies. Beyond the immediate humanitarian toll, disasters of this size can strain infrastructure, displace communities, and ripple across borders through aid, migration, and supply disruptions. Elsewhere in Asia, Typhoon Saudel has made landfall in Taizhou in eastern China, bringing the risk of flooding, transport problems, and storm damage. And early Friday, a magnitude 6.0 earthquake struck the Gulf of Aden, an area closely watched because of its busy shipping corridor. In the UK, a cyber attack has affected Manchester, London Stansted, and East Midlands airports, with data belonging to around 8.7 million customers exposed. Even when flights continue moving, a breach like this hits confidence in critical infrastructure and raises questions about how well major transport systems are protected. The big issue here is not just privacy. Airports sit at the center of travel, logistics, and public safety, so any digital disruption quickly becomes a national security and resilience story. In U.S. health news, regulators approved updated COVID vaccines from Moderna, Pfizer-BioNTech, and Novavax, Sanofi. The new shots are aimed at the dominant XFG variant and will likely shape fall vaccination guidance. The takeaway is straightforward. Health officials are trying to keep protection aligned with the strain now circulating most widely. At the same time, the FDA and CDC have widened their investigation into a cyclosporiasis outbreak linked to iceberg lettuce from central Mexico. Cases have now appeared in 20 states, suggesting the food safety problem is broader than first understood and could lead to stronger consumer warnings or recalls. Turning to regional security, Washington is urging Israel and Syria to step back from further escalation after Israeli airstrikes on a Syrian airbase. The American message is clear: contain this before it widens. In a region already crowded with overlapping conflicts and competing military interests, even a single strike can trigger a larger chain of reactions. Separately, Kuwait and Pakistan signed a defense agreement, a move that may deepen training, coordination, and strategic ties between the Gulf and South Asia. It is another sign that security partnerships in the region are still shifting. In East Asia, the story we've been following took a new turn as South Korea announced joint military drills with Japan and the United States from September 9th to 11th. The exercises are meant to test readiness against North Korea's missile and nuclear threats. The new development matters because it shows trilateral coordination is not just diplomatic messaging anymore. It is being translated into visible planning and military cooperation at a tense moment in the region. On trade, in a new development, talks between the United States and Canada have reportedly collapsed. That raises the prospect of new U.S. tariffs on Canadian goods and adds fresh uncertainty to one of the world's biggest cross-border trading relationships. For businesses, this is the kind of breakdown that can quickly move from negotiation rooms into real costs, delayed planning, and political retaliation. For consumers, the effects can eventually show up in prices and supply chains, even if the dispute starts with targeted sectors. And finally, two developments out of Washington are drawing attention for very different reasons. President Donald Trump signed an order directing the federal government to use the name Lake America for Lake Ontario. The move appears largely symbolic, but it has already sparked backlash and confusion over whether it changes anything beyond federal wording. Also in federal policy, Immigration and Customs Enforcement awarded a $16.7 million contract to purchase thousands of electric shock gloves for field officers. That decision is likely to intensify debate over use of force, oversight, and civil liberties protections in immigration enforcement. Thanks to our sponsor, Stock MVP. Stock MVP helps you invest like the pros using data-driven insights. Find the link in the episode notes. That's your top news briefing for August 28th, 2026. If you want a fast, clear update on the biggest stories shaping the day, come back for the next edition of The Automated Daily. I'm Trent Teller. Thanks for listening.